brothers.
Boy, I come here to get busy, and it won't be no different from all the previous killers. I don't miss with this rap tighter than a Nike shoebox with socks as a Christmas gift. Can't swap a verse with me, I'm a saint till I ain't. Then somehow you shank with a fleur-de-lis. I don't need an army to arm me in me unless it's plenty. Don't care who do this or did it, I'm still gonna do my did it, coming with it. My people love me cause that's what I give them. Yeah, I bump heads with them, but I bust yours for playing with them. I cut the line to get in front of who you thought was next. I'm usually humble about this, but this ain't the time for that. So as long as these rappers know it ain't safe trying to try me, then hey, les éléments sont brûlés. You must not know I get out. I don't know what you come to do, but I come to do my thing. I don't know what you come to do, but I come to do my thing. Stop playing with me.
All right, y'all. Welcome to Hanging with July and Will. We got a special podcast version. We're gonna be debating a couple of players in the past and the present. A couple of interesting topics that came up in the group. Of course, I had to bring Chris Donato on because we had a good debate going on. So I said, hey, let's come on the podcast. We're gonna discuss it. Finally got my dog Wilt back. Got him back.
Man, big vacation.
Unpaid. He kind of off from his unpaid vacation, but it's all good.
Congratulations on the new little one, bro.
Appreciate that.
Congratulations, man. Congratulations.
Appreciate y'all.
Congrats. Had to bring the troll god back for this one. Troll of the year 2020.
One and only. In the land of God, there can only be one. I am him.
Hey, if y'all didn't watch that podcast episode of Digging In, if y'all didn't watch it, please go watch it. That's some of the best material I've seen, bro. Like I had to come on. I was listening, I was working, but I was still listening in the background. Yeah, I heard some real good stuff, and I got a chance to listen to the podcast the next day. Hey, you and Justin, y'all did that. That's some of the best material I ever heard, football wise. Some of the best material. So shout out to you and Justin, Coach.
Appreciate that. It was fun.
I haven't even watched it yet, man. I've been busy running the restaurant, but I will watch it tonight.
Now that we got that out the way, we're going to get right into it. We're going to start off with Shaquille O'Neal versus Hakeem Olajuwon. Who was the better player? Who had the better career? I'm going to start off with you first, Coach. What you got? What you think?
Damn. Heat already.
Well, fresh, just throw that man fresh in the grease.
The better player was Hakeem. Let's not make no missed words with it. He was an outstanding defensive player, which Shaq was just lazy at. Let's just be real with it. Shaq could have dominated on the defensive side, but he chose not to. He was a better at passing. He was a better scorer. He could handle the ball. He was one of the most talented big men to ever come through. But as far as dominance and who had the better career, you got to go with Shaq, man. Shaq at one point was second only to Michael Jordan in the league as far as one of the guys that you knew that you had to bring it every single night. There was no guarding him. That stretch that when he first got to LA, that was 99 to 04. He led the league in scoring. He won MVP. He was the anchor to three-peat. Like, again, we didn't get to see Wilt. I don't know nobody on this podcast that can get to see Wilt that always said how dominant he was with that 50 and 25. But that Shaq year, when I think it was 32 and 13, that he averaged for that little stretch, especially when he won the MVP. We saw nothing like it. I mean, it didn't matter if you was grabbing him, if you was holding him, you was getting your ass dunked on it. Then when he had the little baby hook to it, it was a whole different story. But like I say, for me, Dream was the better player. But as far as the better career and the more dominant player, I had to give it to Shaq.
So as far as when we ranking like the top 10 greatest players of all time, because how I look at it, greatest players of all time, is most accomplishments. So you would rank Shaq ahead of Hakeem when you're talking about greatest players of all time?
Now, it's funny. On my greatest players of all time list, I'll rank Shaq ahead of Hakeem. But if we're ranking the greatest centers of all time, I'll rank Hakeem ahead of Shaq.
Okay. I'm gonna get back with you, but I want to hear from from Chris. What you got?
I agree with Coach. I think Hakeem was the better player all around, hands down. Could do everything. You name it, he could do it. He top 10 in steals as a center. Had real sticky hands. 9-time all defensive team, where Shaq was only 3-time all defensive team. So they both could score. In their prime, they both could put up numbers. Hakeem just did it on the other side a little bit more than Shaq. And I do believe it's because of him being out of shape and having to work himself back into shape and just being lazy. Whereas Hakeem probably came in with that soccer background. You know, he had the footwork, he had the work ethic. He was just a overall better player. But when you're talking about impact and dominance, like you said, Shaq had probably a 7-8 year stretch that was just unbelievable. Like, it wasn't nothing you can do with him but put him at the free throw line. And, you know, he had stretches where he would even make those. So you were really flipping a coin when you send the big man to the free throw line. So I do think Hakeem was the better player. And if I was ranking them all-time greats, I'm kind of the same way. I think Hakeem would be better overall as a center. But when you talk about the impact that Shaq had on his team, he's going to edge him in the overall debate and be just a little bit higher. But I don't think they're far between. Like, if I'm just going off my list right off the top of my head, I'm like 8 and 10, 8 and 11, somewhere in that area, but not too far between each other.
Okay. Honestly, I get what y'all saying because I'm gonna put it like this. I get exactly what y'all. I think Kobe Bryant is the most skilled player ever. Like, when it comes to offense, defense, like, I just think Kobe Bryant's the most skilled player ever. But when we talk about greatest players, I got them right outside the top 10, like, you know, around 7. So I get what y'all saying. I got him around 7, you know, and honestly, that's better than some sports writers got him at. Some sports writers got him outside of the 10 or at 10.
I respect that. I got him at 7 too. I respect that. I just fucking with you. I respect it. When you said
everybody are trolling their own way.
Like, oh shit.
I'm gonna tell y'all right now. Boys gonna hate this podcast. They hear Kobe at 7.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Boys gonna go crazy, son.
Yeah, he's starting off the YouTube thread with at least 3 thumbs down.
Flag the video.
You tested the lyrics,
when it comes to Hakeem and Shaq, I'm looking at the numbers. Hakeem, defensive-wise, the numbers just Hakeem like a top 5 defender ever. I don't know what them boys. What they had them in the group when they did that defensive player, greatest defenders. You remember what number they had Hakeem?
I don't remember where he was at. I'm about to go try to find it though.
I don't even think they had him in the top 10.
I don't think so either. That's what I stopped paying attention.
I want to say somewhere around 13 to 15. If I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong.
Yeah, man, Hakeem, that's a top 5 defender, bro. Like, but I don't know, man. When Shaq played Hakeem, when I think that was his 3rd year in the league. You know, Houston did swap him, but Shaq did his thing. But when the roles were reversed, when Shaq was in his prime, but Hakeem, he was slightly out of his prime. You know what I'm saying? Shaq dominated Hakeem when Hakeem was in Houston, when he had I think he had Barkley or whatever. But Shaq dominated him. And I just think that domination, when you talk about dominating a league, I think that makes you a better player. I honestly think that makes you a better player. Like, people don't know this. Hakeem missed the playoffs in his prime. Like, in his prime, he missed the playoffs. I mean, Shaq wasn't missing no playoffs, and I think Shaq missed the playoffs his rookie year by a game. But yeah, I think since Shaq was so dominant, that makes him a better player, if that makes sense. But yeah, I'm gonna roll with Shaq as a better player and a greater career. Any response to that?
Shaq as a better player, better career, for real. Better career, yeah. Only after Akeem swept his ass and he ran to the West. Better career, yeah. Better career, yeah. If you think,
hold on. He didn't run to the West because of Hakeem. Let's get that right. He ran to the West because of the Bulls. Because the Bulls got robbed. That's why
that bald-headed motherfucker.
The Bulls got robbed. The Bulls got robbed. Shaq first meeting with Chicago in the playoffs. They ran them boys the hell out the building.
No. I said the Bulls got robbed, man. That's what I said. I said
the Bulls got robbed. Oh.
Yeah.
Hey, man, hold on. Let me review. Jordan had played what? I think it was 32 games.
17. He played 17 games.
17 games.
He played 22 games and then went 17-5.
Yeah, and the Bulls were out of playoff contention. Jordan pulled them into playoff contention. And after that, when that win, when he came back the next year, he broke that shit up. He made Shaq leave the conference. So let's not talk about that shit.
Well, you gonna talk about him making Shaq leave? Let's talk about Shaq running him out the building the year before. That's not our fault. Jordan made a bad decision to come back late in the season when the boys was losing. If you're gonna come back that late, be accountable for what happens in the postseason.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
The Bulls lost. Hey, the Bulls did lost. Jordan said it. Man, they lost. They were just better than us. But he came back that next season, had it on his mind.
Shaq, you are absolutely right about that. After Shaq saw that next season, Jordan wasn't gonna let that happen again. Yeah, he ran his ass on to the West.
Hey, and I know this going off topic. I don't like when people say Jordan get guarded by just shooting guards. No, everybody try to guard Jordan on the team. Against that Orlando team. Penny tried to guard him, Nick Anderson, Dennis Scott, like all them boys tried to guard him. Like it wasn't nothing. But let's get back on topic. Will, where you going with this, Will?
Man, look, I think we all kind of saying the same thing, but we looking at it differently. It's easy to see that Elijah Wan was more skilled than Shaq. I mean, you'd be a fool not to admit that. But I think Shaq is the better player. And I think his dominance elevated him to be the better player over Elijah Wan. Of course, I would take Shaq's career as well. The championships with the Lakers, and he went and got one with D Wade. It would have been crazy if Shaq would have had that Kobe mindset, though. You know what I mean? Like in shape and all of that stuff, bro. Like I was listening to that All the Smoke podcast with Jeannie Buss. I don't know if y'all heard that one when she was talking about a lot of the stuff. That was a really, really good listen, man. But if Shaq would have had that mindset where he didn't have to be coddled so much, you know what I'm saying? Where it was just like he had that dog in him. We know he was dominant, but he was. It's weird, man. It's weird. He's just like he was Dwight 1.0, right? Like a big playful, silly dude. You know what I'm saying? It didn't really take nothing serious, but he was a dog. His dominance was just ridiculous. But if I had to say, man, I would say Shaq is the better player, but Elijah Wan had a better skill set. I think that's what it is. I think that's what we all pretty much saying. And I would take Shaq's career, man. Give me Shaq's career.
All right. Hey, Troll God, you answered the question yet?
Somewhat, but not really. All right, let's break this down. Better player. As far as the center position, I would have to say Elijah Wan by a slight edge. When you take players in a position, you got to take all aspects of a player: offense, defense, IQ, footwork, all that. Shaq was a more dominant center. Let's not even try to compare the two. But let's flip-flop. Give Shaq Akeem's build and give Akeem Shaq's build. Who becomes the better center? Akeem still has the jumper. Akeem still has the footwork. Akeem can hit a free throw. Shaq could have Akeem's build and not shoot a jumper and do nothing but dunk. Y'all can say Shaq was the more dominant player. No, he was the more dominant center. The better player was Akeem. Now, if we go back and think about the best championship teams in NBA history, they were never super teams. They were 2 or 3 star players and a whole bunch of role players. Houston lost their team chemistry when they broke the dream team up in '95 to go get another superstar. that took away from the offense. You could have 10. You could have the top 10 players in the NBA on any one team at any given time. If they have no coherence, they can get beat. Now, as far as careers, definitely Shaq. Shaq was the piece LA was missing when he went over there, and he just happened to have Kobe Bryant over there with him. Now, in Shaq's point, at that point in Shaq's career, you got to make a decision. You know Jordan's coming back, and you're not gonna make it to the finals. Now, as a player, do you want to take the chance of meeting Jordan in the playoffs, or run into the other conference and meeting him in the finals? I think that was the final that we got robbed of. Bulls versus Lakers with that Shaq and Kobe team versus MJ and them. I would have paid good money to see that.
Hey, they got swept by Utah, bro. Them old men in Utah.
Like I said, no matter how many superstars you got on the team, any team with more coherence and more chemistry will run you straight up out the building.
No, I was saying that because the group like to call Utah was an old team that had John Stockton and Jeff Horner say, man, the boys put it on the Lakers though.
Utah was a fundamental team with the right pieces. You had 2 All-Stars and the right cast around them.
Yeah, that's basically what the Bulls had.
That's what I'm saying. The best championship teams in NBA history wasn't even super teams. You had a focus of 2 or 3 All-Star elite top talent players. With if you can get the right combination of supporting cast around them, they will run you out the building every time. That 69 and 13 Bulls team. How many All-Stars did they have on that team besides Jordan and Pippen?
That's all they ever had.
Exactly.
On all their teams, on all their championship teams, that's the only All-Stars they had was Jordan and Pippen.
Houston went back-to-back in 94 95 with what? Olajuwon?
Mm-hmm.
Big Shot Bob? That's a whole nother conversation right there. Shaq owe a ring to him too. We're gonna say that for another podcast.
Let me give you a history lesson about the Rockets, about their back-to-back championship. Let me give you a history lesson. That second championship, they wouldn't even made the playoffs if they wouldn't have traded for Clyde Drexler. Go back. They wouldn't even made the playoffs if they wouldn't have traded for Clyde Drexler. Like Hakeem, for them to win that first championship, it took Hakeem to have one of the best seasons ever. MVP, defensive player.
A lot of back and forth, a lot of what ifs. What if Jordan had not retired and actually met Hakeem in the playoffs in between 94 and 95? Would he still be undefeated in the finals? It's a lot of what ifs. We can go back and forth all day. We're gonna say that for another podcast. Stay on topic, like you say.
I honestly don't know that question.
It's a lot of what ifs. It's that if they hadn't traded for Drexler, they wouldn't have won. If Jordan wouldn't retire, he would potentially be 6-2 in the finals. And this whole Jordan versus LeBron debate would be a whole lot different.
Hold on, let me talk. I'll let you talk. Let me talk. I said they wouldn't have made the playoffs because they was like a 9th or 10th seed. That's what I got to go on. It's not just a what if. It's the fact that there was a 9th and 10th seed. They traded for Drexler. Drexler helped them get to the 6th seed. But before they traded for Drexler, there was a 9th or 10th seed. So it was looking like they wasn't even going to make the playoffs. Now,
Counterpoint. Like you said, they traded for Drake. If they wouldn't have traded for Drake, they wouldn't have won. Had the Bulls not signed Robin after they got ran out the building, would they have three-peated again?
I don't know.
They'll see that's a whole lot of what ifs. Save that for another time, another podcast. Stay on topic.
Wait, hold on. They three-peated without Robin, so why they can't three-peat again?
They had another piece.
Who's to say they would have if they wouldn't have went got him? You know why they would have got him, because Shaq them ran their ass up out of there.
But having the Rockets at the 10 seed or the 9 seed, it doesn't necessarily mean that they wouldn't have made the playoffs. It just means they may have had a tougher first round opponent. Because being in that 9 or the 10 seed don't necessarily mean you can't win enough games to get into the playoffs. Now, I can understand if they were like a 14 seed and then they shot all the way up.
I got something for you. You know, if they would have got that 8 seed, you know what team they would have played?
We can't go off of what ifs.
No.
It could have been harder, but you can't say they wouldn't have made the playoffs if they didn't make that move if they were on the verge of the playoffs.
Okay. Okay, so they were struggling. Okay, so let's just say they would have got hot. They would have got that 8 seed. You know what team gave them trouble in the 90s? You know what team gave Houston trouble in the 90s? The Seattle
Seattle. Sean
Supersonics.
Kemp and Gary Payton.
That's all fine, but when you get hot at the right time, that momentum can keep and carry you throughout the playoffs. It could help sustain you, especially in a first round series like that. So we can't say that one move is what catapulted them to win it all, because still at a 6 seed, you still had to go through some people to get there.
But what I'm saying is with Drexler, there wasn't a 6 seed with Drexler. That's what I'm saying. There was a 6 seed, but that team wasn't a 6 seed, if you get what I'm saying. But look, check this out.
I understand what you're saying. They became better once they got Drexler. But the initial statement you said was they wouldn't have made the playoffs if they didn't trade for Drexler. But we don't know that, because at a 9 or 10 seed, it's still possible you can sneak into the playoffs as an 8 seed. Now, I'm not saying they would have won, but it is a chance they still could have made the playoffs as an 8 or as an 8 seed, or even a 7 seed.
And I said if they would have made the playoffs as an 8 seed, they would have been playing Seattle. And to counter your point that you get hot and make the playoffs, like, okay, besides Phoenix last year, Portland was the hottest thing in the bubble. Portland, we got hot. We still got our ass handed to us in the playoffs. And that's just my point.
But to foreshadow to another conversation we're gonna have later, Dallas got hot in the playoffs and whipped everything. Dirk shot 72% from 3-point range in a series, in one playoff series. So it is a possibility for you to get hot and continue to carry that on, and it's still a possibility for you to get that and still lose.
See, but Dallas
I like this.
was a good team during the season, though. There was a 3rd seed that year. Correct? There was a 3rd seed.
They were a good team. They had a solid team. But if you sit up here right now and you looked at that playoff series, you wouldn't have said they would have beat the Lakers the way they beat them. Then you dang sure wouldn't have turned around and say they were going to beat the Heat the way they beat them. If you go back and you look at that series in which they beat the Heat, Dallas shot 50% from 3-point range. They shot better from 3-point range than they did from the field, because they shot 48% from the field.
It didn't matter. You had a couple of people choking, but that's neither here nor there.
But okay, so
I agree with that point. But they still got hot. Like, even when they beat the Lakers, they carried all of that momentum that they had and ran through the playoffs. Because if we being honest, that's another finals we was cheated out of. LeBron versus Kobe, because Dallas got hot.
Man, Kobe showed
up. What? So hold on. So what team besides the New York Knicks, as an 8 seed or 7 seed, made a run to the playoffs because made a run to the finals because they got hot at the end of the season? What 8 seed or 7 seed made a run to the finals?
Off the top of my head, but I know the Denver Nuggets with Mutombo beat a 1 seed.
They went to the 2nd round. I said the finals.
They still won. Off the top of my head, I can't tell you nobody who went, because I don't know. But we can't say it's not going to happen.
Hey, I'm saying I'm not saying it's not going to happen. I'm saying it never happened. That's all I'm saying.
Right, but it never happened because they wasn't in that position. They made other moves to get out of that position. We can't say it's going to never happen. People said we never see somebody average a triple-double again. And Russell Westbrook did it for 3 years.
I didn't say it's never going to happen. I said it never happened with the ED at the end. That's what I said.
But it doesn't necessarily mean that they couldn't have done it.
But that's exactly
like my man said, when we start talking about what ifs, that's a whole nother thing. We start talking about hypotheticals. They made it. They was a 6 seed. They won. So we can't say they wouldn't have done it if they didn't do this, because they did it and it was done. That's just a simple fact of it. But if we're going to talk hypotheticals, then hypothetically they could have done it. That's all it is. We're just speaking hypotheticals, because none of this is true. They end up
you
six
right.
seed.
You right. I'm gonna just say you're right. You're right. You're right. All right.
I got a fact. I got a fact though, right quick.
What's up?
The boys voted Elijah won fourth and fifth. He was tied with Ben Wallace with the same amount of votes in the group. So they was both tied for fourth and fifth. You know what I'm saying? So them boys they ain't have them too far down, man.
No,
I feel good about that.
So how can boys rank Shaq as a better player when they got Olajuwon ranked as a better defender than him, according to y'all opinion? Offensively, we know Olajuwon was a more all around player, but now they all got a poll in the group that says Olajuwon was ranked a higher defender than Shaq. So how can y'all say Shaq was the better player when y'all rank Olajuwon as a better defender? Which is
it's
what
the dominance,
Shaq
bro.
was.
Like, it's the dominance, bro.
I'm going with the
Y'all basing that off his career. If Shaq had stayed in Orlando and didn't have as many championships, y'all would say Olajuwon was the better player.
Back to if now. Now you going back to if now. You just told me about
you've been basing your whole podcast on ifs. The minute somebody else come with one, it's a problem.
No,
man, y'all ain't about to get on my co-host.
How you gonna correct me?
Hey, the ugly truth is an evil necessity. That's why I'm trolling the year. I'm gonna give it to you real.
How you gonna correct me and then you gonna go back to it?
I'm not correcting you, man. I'm doing you to you. I'm treating you like you treating that. Hypothetically, it's a whole bunch of hypotheticals, man. Y'all saying Shaq is a better player, but y'all ranking Olajuwon as a better defender. Make sense.
I think Shaq is a better player because, like a lot of people say, he's the most unstoppable force to ever play in the league. So when it came down to that, it was no stopping him. But Olajuwon, I think, had a overall skill set that was better than Shaq's. But Shaq was just more dominant. He at certain times in the game, you couldn't do nothing with Shaq.
I will say this about Shaq. Shaq was like the new old school prototype center. Shaq had a skill set that was arguably comparable to any center in the league at the time, but he was twice as big and had the size to go with it. That was unheard of as far as centers before Shaq came. Name a center that was over 7 foot and 300 pounds that made any kind of impression in the NBA before Shaq. I got time. I'll wait.
Hey, we're gonna keep waiting because we gotta move on.
Let's move. Next subject. We got plenty more podcasts to discuss this.
Well, me and you already touched on this topic, Will, so we're gonna let them three shine on the next debate. We're gonna let them next three shine on it. John Rich, just in time.
Whoa.
Why I can't hear nothing, Mo?
Hey, Harden versus
there go Jermo.
Harden versus Iverson. Harden versus Iverson. Chris, I want to start off with you on this one.
Why you know I can't hear nothing, man?
So what I said with the Harden versus Iverson thing is kind of similar to the other one. Iverson's impact on the game overall is way higher than Iverson. So as far as of now, when I'm looking at careers, I would take Iverson's career. I think he has the better career. But I think Harden is going to be the better player when it's all said and done because of what he was able to do in Houston. Like when you compare the Houston and the Philly teams, I think they're very comparable. Both Harden and Iverson were asked to do a lot to get their teams where they were. But Iverson was able to actually get his team to the finals, and my man never kind of got there. But when you think about just his overall skill set at scoring the ball, I would say he's the better player for me. But Iverson's impact on the game is much higher than Harden's to me.
James, Coach Ball, you look like you got
yeah, Coach Ball gotta be next.
Yeah, come on, I want to hear from you next, buddy.
Listen, I love Harden. All right, Iverson was the better player. He has the better career. Hey, people act like Iverson is getting out on defense. People act like he wasn't getting cookies out there. Last I checked, defense is half the game. Man, when you got little white children going to the game with fake tattoos and jerseys, they made a dress code rule just for him.
That's his impact.
When you talk about impact, culture, all of that, man, you gotta give it to Iverson. If you go to YouTube right now, Iverson has an 11-minute video of Allen Iverson's top 100 crossovers. We're not talking about buckets. We're talking about top 100 crossovers. Man, Iverson was the better player. Hey, he got buckets. He got to the rack whenever he wanted. People act like he wouldn't dunk on your ass, you know what I'm saying? But like it wasn't nothing. Difference is James Harden has a 3-point game. The 3-point shot wasn't as a big thing in that day and age. You know what I'm saying? That I have no doubt that if Iverson really wanted to just perfect the step back three, he could have did that. He took the tougher route and got to the rack. And then again, if you look at that playoff series with that Milwaukee game, that Milwaukee series, he went through Ray Allen and Sam
Big
Cassell
dog.
and but he went through a hell of a East Coast. He just ran into the perfect machine in the Shaq and Kobe show. But again, I think Iverson is the better player and I'll take Iverson's career over Harden's at this point. And again, he gets this ring. We can have that discussion, but give me Iverson on both cards.
Hey, I just want to say this right quick. Harden career over Iverson, that's easy, bro. I'll take Harden career over Iverson career easy.
My
What
question,
he won?
my question is this: when did they
What he
invent
won?
the 3-point shot?
Wait, no.
Oh,
My
no,
question
no,
is,
hold on. I got him.
has
Just remember what he said
what
last
has
convo.
Harden
I got him.
won? I'm gonna answer that. What has Harden won? At least obviously can say he was an Eastern Conference champion. Last I checked, Harden was actually on the bench when the Rockets came back against the Clippers. They actually played better without him. Iverson probably had the least talented team ever and brought that to the finals. Man, give me Iverson.
Man, come on, man. Hey, man, that Eastern, man, look, man, look.
Iverson
Harden,
all
every
day.
single year,
Iverson
Golden
all
State take
day.
on Harden.
July, July, question. Last topic. Did you not say you based most of your decisions off career achievements? I got witnesses.
I said career. I'll take Harden.
You said
know
career
why?
achievements and accomplishments. Did he not?
Yes.
Coach?
You know why? Hey, I got the stats to back it up.
Yes, that's
I
a
got the
simple yes
stats
or
to
no.
back it up.
That's
I
a
got the
simple yes or
stats to
no.
back it up. Go ahead. I got the stats to back it up.
Exactly. Now with that being said, how could you rank Harden career over Iverson's if he ain't got more accomplishments and achievements? Iverson made it further with less talent. That nigga made it to the finals in the East with the Flint Bay Tropics.
So you saying because Iverson got to the finals, he had more achievements than Harden? That's what you're
Harden
saying?
had more help and still couldn't get there.
No. So
I'm a Houston fan. I love Harden. Harden gonna go down as one of the top 5 shooting guards all time. But let's be real. You can have all them stats. If they don't equal up to no wins in the playoffs, you just another regular season all-star.
Okay.
Ain't that y'all same knock for LeBron against MJ?
Man, we're not talking about LeBron and MJ. More achievements.
We're not talking about that. But how you gonna rank Harden career over Iverson's when that man ain't even got a conference championship to his name? Do we even have a regular season conference championship to his name?
Hey, who do I say to go? Brandon Wilkerson. Didn't I say LeBron to go? I said it plenty of times. I said LeBron to go. So
you only said that after LeBron won this 4th championship. Stop it.
Yes. So
Stop
hey,
it.
but look, let me give my Harden facts. Harden is more just because Iverson made it to the finals one time. He got out the first round 2 times in his career. Come on now, man. Chill out with that.
Who got more memorable moments? Who got more career highlights?
Iverson got out the first round 2 times in his career. Just because Harden run into Golden State every single year. I mean, when Iverson ran into a powerhouse Western Conference team, they got whooped. Harden runs into Golden State every single year. Like it is what it is. Golden State is that Lakers team. But at the
Wasn't
same
Golden
time,
State hurt a couple times too?
When?
Lost in his building. Wasn't they up 3-2 in Houston?
Yeah, but Golden State's still a good team with Klay Thompson and Steph Curry. That's still a good team.
I feel you, but when you that dog and you up 3-2 at your crib, ain't that's what great players do.
Hey, so besides that finals run, what else did Iverson do in the playoffs? Besides that finals run,
what has James Harden ever done in the playoffs?
He made it to the first. He made it past the first round more than one time.
The first round.
Who went further?
Hey, the first all NBA team. he averaged more points. He averaged more assists. Like James Harden, he in the top 5 MVP almost every single year. Come on now, man.
And
James,
he had
Okay,
the
man. Let's go, man. All right. 11-time
the same
All-Star,
amount of
2-time
MVP.
All-Star Game MVP, 3-time NBA First Team, All-NBA Third Team, Rookie of the Year, All-NBA Rookie First Team, 4-time scoring champion. How many scoring titles has James Harden won?
5 scoring titles. What you talking about?
Now Harden got 3 scoring titles. He's
Thank
6
you, sir.
He's
Thank
6
you,
time
sir.
first All
Quit
NBA
padding
though.
stats, July.
He's 6 time All Team First NBA. And just to touch on a couple of things, like we went back to the hypothetical. I believe if the 3-pointer was a part of the game, then Iverson could have did it. I believe the 3-point shot came in like the 70s, so it was a part of the game. They didn't utilize it. But
that's what I just said, though.
We looking at all these things. Yes, Iverson has moments, and that's why I say when you're talking about impact, I'm with you with that, Coach. Impact, the dress code, the fake tattoos, all that good stuff. I'm with you with all of that. This is my thing, though. This is my question, and I'm gonna have to step off for a second, but I'm coming back. Give me a season where your man's touch 36, 6 and 7 for a whole season, or 34, 6 and 7 for a whole season.
What did it lead to?
Or 29, 8 and 11 for a whole season.
What did it lead to? Second round exit, right? What did it lead to? A second round exit, right?
Man, y'all acting like Iverson won the championship.
Last time I checked, basketball was
how many
championships
does Iverson have?
I'm just saying.
Iverson didn't win no championship. Allen Iverson did not win no championship, bro.
Neither did James Harden.
I know, so that's why you can't. That's why you can't say what that led to. Because none of Iverson stats ain't lead to nothing.
He won an Eastern Conference title.
Man, that ain't.
No, I'm saying he went further. I'm just talking about just like leading his team to a further, because you have to take that into account. The guy that has the ball in his hands the most is the leader of the team. What if you looking at those two guys as players, and when you carrying your franchise, because let's keep it real, James Harden carried his franchise. Iverson carried his franchise more with less.
Man, let me tell you something. The Eastern Conference don't even compare to the Western Conference, what the Western Conference was when Harden was carrying.
Right,
the Eastern Conference
let's not act like the East wasn't the perennial powerhouse back in the 80s and 90s. You had more teams that had a chance of winning.
Iverson did it in the early 2000s when it was at its weak point.
But hold on.
That's when the West started getting all these issues. Before then, the East was the conference to beat.
Yeah, in the 80s and 90s.
New York, Chicago, Philadelphia, Boston, all them boys. Let's not act like the East just been trash forever.
Bro. In the early 2000s, Boston wasn't good like that, man. Don't give me that, bro. John Rich, let me hear from you, John Rich. What you got to say, bro?
Hey! I was gonna let y'all get y'all shine on, man. So I'm gonna say like this. First of all, I think that's a good comparison doing Iverson and Harden, because their careers are kind of similar. They were both great, both led their teams single-handedly for the most part, but just really couldn't get over that little hump. If we talking straight skill for skill, player for player, that's Harden. If we talking career, that's AI. The reason I say AI on career is because they both accomplished nothing of the grand scheme, right? But when it's all said and done, when the game over, AI gonna be remembered more than Harden will be. AI is a generational icon. Harden is a great player. Got a lot of great players. So I think if we're gonna look at it that way, meaning they both kind of missed the bigger point, which Harden's career is still going on, so he could make a case for himself. You know what I'm saying? But if his career ended today, I would have to say AI's career, just because of the icon behind his name behind it. I mean, they both came out with, they both went to the finals one time. AI was the man on that team. Harden was the sixth man on that team. So you could kind of give a bump to AI for that one. You know what I'm saying? Harden got just as much regular season accolades as him, scoring titles. I think he got one less scoring title, but he got, 2 or 1 assist titles, though? I can't remember off the top.
Two of them.
Two of them. So, hey, I ain't got no assist titles. So I mean, you know, as far as the regular season stuff, I think the careers are so similar. It's hard to even, you know, decide between the two on that one. So my next thing would be to go to, okay, who's gonna be remembered more? And I mean, AI ain't playing how many years, and we having this conversation right now with somebody that's playing right now. You know what I'm saying? So if we talking about career, I'd have to go AI, man.
And to respond to you, John Rich, this is what I think. The reason I say Harden career, because if you ranking the players, if you ranking the top 20 greatest players of all time, I just think Harden gonna come before AI. Like people, and you know this better than I do, John Rich. Harden scores. They complain how Harden score. Like they complain how he score. Like, come on now, man. Like how they complain how LeBron scored. LeBron so dominant. They complain about that. They complain how Harden scored because he get to the free throw line. I mean, last time I checked, like Money Mayweather say, the boxing is all about hitting and not getting hit. It don't matter how you score in the NBA, you just score.
Hey, just to bounce back off that, people might not like how Harden scores. The NBA changed how they called carry because Iverson was breaking so many ankles.
Oh, I was
That's a
finna
good
hit you
point.
with that. Like a lot of
The league wanted to stop it.
can I
That was
The
can I add
league
to
the
that?
wanted to
fans.
stop that
That was
step
the
back
fans,
3-point
brother.
shot
Yeah,
too.
can I add that? Like
Say
a
that
lot
again.
of the moves that these players incorporate into their skill set nowadays. Like a lot of the moves that these modern day players incorporate into their skill set, the crossover, the step back. Who you think incorporated that into the NBA?
The step back three.
No,
I
the
don't say no
step
back
back
three.
period. Let's not forget R.I.P. Tyronn Lue.
Yeah, right.
That
Right.
was a step back or that was a crossover. That looked like a
That
That
was
was a
a
step back. That was
crossover
a snatch
step
That,
back
back.
between legs.
that was a snatch
Yeah,
back.
it was a
Snatch
step
back.
back. But you
He
gotta
really was a
realize,
snatch
like
back.
the way Iverson had the crossover, unguardable, it's the same way Harden has this step back three. And the same way they changed the rules then to stop Iverson, if the NBA wouldn't be going to the way they're going now about the entertainment factor and it really being about basketball, they would have changed this rule as well. Because when he first
If
started, everybody said it was travel.
we go with them ifs again, if my auntie had nuts, she'd be my uncle.
You
Remember,
already
I was
know it.
playing if later because I caught you on the if too. But still, when he first started, did he not get the same flack about the step back? Is it travel?
Hey,
Is it not
no. Oh
travel?
no, I feel you, but ain't nobody changed shit. They started calling
Hey
carry
man,
on Iverson.
hey man.
Literally, he did carry a lot, but
Hey,
The
hey, Tim,
definition of carry is breaking the plane of the shoulder. He never broke the plane. He
or
just was too quick off his
palming
feet.
the ball.
hey, Tim Harden.
I will say, I will
You
say
can watch his
Harden.
11-minute highlight. And he got a couple where he held the ball out there, palming it, and then brung it back across.
Hey, as long as your
I
hands
will
clean.
say Harden read Iverson's blueprint very well. Find a skill that's unique to you and find your own way to make it customable to only you. Like Iverson made the crossover his shit when he came in. You said crossover, you thought AI. And so James Harden did the same thing. He's a lefty. He could cross over, but stepping back and creating space is his thing. AI is known for a lot of questionable carries. Harden is known for a lot of questionable travels. He just found a way to make it work for him. Shout out to him.
Hey, that was a good statement. That was a good statement, Sean. Good statement. We're gonna end it off on your statement. We're gonna end it off on your statement. We're gonna move on to the next one. I want to talk about KD and Larry Bird, man. I'm gonna start with you since you in the last one, Sean. I'm gonna start with you on this one. Better career, better player, KD or Bird. Let's go.
Better career, definitely Bird. Better player, it's kind of questionable. If we going based off of playing at the four, I would have to say KG. KG is a more all around power forward than I think Bird is. I think KG edges him on defense in that department. As far as shooting, because you could classify Bird as a 3 or 4, but I think they got him listed at potentially primarily as a 4, if I'm not mistaken. Am I right?
Larry Bird came in the league as a 4. He came in the league as a 4, but Kevin McHale was so good they couldn't bring him off the bench no more. So they moved Bird to the 3.
Which is why that's kind of a on the fence kind of question for me. You can compare the two, but you really can't because it's Bird and KG. I think KG and Dirk would be better. But as far as better career, definitely Bird. But as far as better player all around, as far as specifically at the 4 position, I'm gonna have to go KG because
No,
power forward out of the 5 positions, power forward is probably the position
not
least
Kevin
known for
Garnett.
scoring.
Hey, I'm talking about Kevin Durant, not Kevin Garnett.
Oh, I thought you said. I thought you said Kevin Garnett. I can't hear. My fault. Kevin Durant and Kevin Garnett. Oh, KD, man.
No, Kevin Durant and Larry Bird.
Kevin Durant. Oh, Kevin Durant, Larry Bird. Better player, KD. Better career, Larry Bird. In the discussion.
Okay, that's it. No explanation.
I don't think I'm gonna get very. I don't think I'm gonna get very many disagreements on that one.
Hey, what you think, Chris? I'm gonna go to you next.
I think KD has a better career. If I'm being honest, I think he's going to be the second. My man took his hat off. I think he's going to be the second best small forward.
You see how I looked at the camera.
I honestly think Durant's going to be the second best small forward. We can say he didn't carry a team. We can say he didn't do a lot of different things that maybe Bird did, but again, 6'11", 7 foot, can do everything on the court, shoot, dribble. And I'm not saying Bird couldn't, but he do everything, play defense. He got 2 titles, possibly a 3rd this year if everything goes right. So I'm overall career, I'm KD. That's just me. I think Bird is great. You can make an argument Bird's career is better. I just don't think you can make an argument that he's a better overall player, but that's just me. I would take KD in both aspects.
All right, Coach and Ball, you got something to say about that?
Where do you guys get the unmitigated gall? Saying that the blasphemy. All right. I'm gonna give you some similarities first. Do you realize that KD and Larry Bird both shot 49% from the field? They both shoot around 38% from 3, and they both shoot 88% from the free throw line. That's crazy. You say we haven't seen it. He's 6'11". Larry Bird was 6'10". I'm just saying. Larry Bird was the better rebounder. Larry Bird was a better passer. A lot of people don't realize Larry Bird was a better defender. He almost averages 2 steals for his career. Larry Bird once decided to play a game shooting left-handed and almost dropped 50. I tell people all the time, do you realize the last person to win 3 consecutive MVPs was Larry Joe Bird? Larry Joe Bird is 24, 10, and 6 for his career. So let's not even talk about KD having the better career. That's Larry Joe Bird. We're not even going to talk. If you want to talk about the whole totality of his career, he's an NBA, he's a in-league MVP, a finals MVP. He's won multiple titles. He won GM of the year, and he won coach of the year. So we're going to talk about totality of a career. It's not even close. Larry Bird has had one of the greatest careers in NBA history. That's not even a close. But when you want to talk about players, hey, Magic, come give me some, let me get that. Hey, Jordan, let me get that. Isaiah, let me get that. Dominique, you get 50. Joe Dumars, you get 47. Dr. J, come give me that ass. Let me get me. You go through the list of top 50 NBA players. Larry Bird says that shit. What are you talking about?
I believe Kevin Durant is a finals MVP, a regular season MVP. I believe he gave LeBron buckets. He gave Carmelo buckets. Whoever you put in front of him, he give buckets to all day, every day, twice on Sunday, 3 times on Saturday.
Can I ask you a question? Is any of those guys Michael Jeffrey Jordan? Or any of those guys you named, Michael, who's considered the GOAT by most standards? Let's just call
LeBron is considered the GOAT by a lot of people too, and he whipped LeBron twice and hit the shot of shots in his face twice.
Hold on. Look, I'll give you that. Let's just say LeBron is the greatest player ever. Let's just say that. Let's just give him that. So let's look at the rest of the top 5 of Magic, Jordan, and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and Bird ran through that. If you want to say he beat the greatest, well, Bird beat the rest of the top 5.
That's fine.
And
But they played. All of their careers are over. All of their careers are over.
Whoa!
And then one thing you can't knock against Durant is you beat who you play. So if he played against them guys, that's him.
Hey, hold on. I'm not even finished on that. Listen, KD went and played with probably the greatest shooting backcourt of all time. Hey, you realize Danny Ainge was one of Bird's point guards. You know what I'm saying? They didn't have anybody to score more than 20 for the longest. For Bird was the leading scorer in his team. He didn't have another player that scored 20, I think, but one in his title.
Coach. Hey, Coach, I can say something right quick.
Go ahead.
Hey, I first of all, I 100% agree with you with Larry Bird, because Larry Bird right now is the top 10 greatest player ever. Kevin Durant is not. Kevin Durant is not. When we talk about when Chris, I know you said something about the 3-ball earlier, that they could have shot the 3-ball earlier, but they didn't because it wasn't part of the game. Let me tell you why. Larry Bird never made 100 3-pointers in a season, but he is still considered one of the greatest 3-point shooters. No, I'm saying he's still considered one of the greatest 3-point shooters. Oh shit, y'all can hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm saying he's still considered one of the greatest 3-point shooters ever. So I'm saying that I actually agree with you when you said that earlier. I just wanted to throw that stat out at you because I actually agree with you, because you can still be looked at one of the greatest 3-point shooters even though they didn't have it back in the day. So I'm saying I actually agree with you when you said that. That's all I wanted to say. But you can finish, Coach.
To touch up on Coach's thing about Bird averaging 2 steals a season. It's the story I heard about Bird where every night after practice he would dribble the ball on every square inch of the Boston Garden floor to find the weakest spots in there, just so he would know when the defender was dribbling on that particular spot to go for the steal. And if I'm right, doesn't he also have one of the highest scores in 3-point contest history ever?
He also won a three-point shooter with a shooting shirt on.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He didn't even come out the warm-ups. I think he did, what, 28, 29?
We comparing the issue with this one is we're comparing a complete career to one that's not done. And when we're looking in the totality of it, yes, Bird is a top 10 player. Kevin Durant's not. And barring injury, barring a lot of different things, Durant has an opportunity to move into the top 10 and to move pretty high into that top 10.
Agreed.
I'm not saying based off what he's accomplished now. I'm really forecasting and foreshadowing, barring he's not injured and he continues to play at a high level for a few years. Because it's hard to compare a complete book to 15 chapters.
But we have to do it right now, because if you forecasting and foreshadowing, I need them lottery numbers straight up. I don't hold out now.
But still,
real Mega Millions 300 this week. I need that.
Even at this point in his career, like we talk about all the people that Bird beat, those players are done, and that's why they're in the positions that they're in. But when it's all said and done, you're going to have other people that's going to move into the top 10. You're going to have people that's going to sneak into the top 5. In other people's discussions, may not be in your top 5, but it's going to be people that he's beat. It's going to be teams that he's beat, and he's done it already. We say he's a MVP, so is Durant. We say he's this, so is Durant. He has just as many accolades.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't, because Durant has a singular MVP. Bird has 3 MVPs. That's not the same.
That's not the same, but you can add in all the other accolades that Kevin Durant had that Bird doesn't. And it's because he played a shorter career.
So, no, actually, at this point right now, they have played the same amount of time, 13 years. Right now, they have the same amount. So he has 3 MVPs in his 13 years.
So that's the only accolades you can get from the NBA of MVP?
Isn't that the most universally recognized that you're that guy? The MVP, right?
Not necessarily, because there's years where we've questioned the MVP.
I haven't.
That's a personal.
It's
a bunch of years I question it. You can't tell me you didn't question the years when Steve said 12 over.
Well, they couldn't give it to Cole because he was fighting a rape charge. That's the only reason why. I mean, it is what
Hey,
it is.
But it's
No league is
still
going
a
to do
doubt
that.
and a question. That's off the court. That's off the court. On the court, you could question it.
What league was going to give a parent fighting a rape charge an MVP?
We're not talking about the semantics of what he did off the court.
That's not
I'm
semantics.
talking
Those some
about
real
what
things.
happened on the court. He didn't
Hey,
take
man,
no
hey,
on the court.
Hey, man, the Lakers was a 7 seed, man. Y'all stop that Kobe nonsense, though. The Lakers was a 7 seed, man. Y'all stop that.
Nobody has averaged.
Stop
There's
that.
only one person that has averaged over 35 points a game and didn't win the MVP. Can you guess his name?
Jordan.
Well, no.
Jordan.
Jordan won an MVP with scoring 35. I said there's only one guy that won.
Oh,
that scored.
okay.
That's what I'm
But
saying.
there was a 7 seed, though, ball. Coach, there was a 7 seed, coach.
Hey, that goes to my greater point, right? To win an MVP, you have to have great team success and you have to have individual accolades as well. That's why I say the MVP is usually a good barometer of who the best player of the league was. You might not like it, but again, if you scoring 30 a game and your team is a 7 seed and getting beat every night, how good? What is your impact on that team? There was no question of Bird's impact against some of the top 50 greatest NBA players of all time.
So there's a question of Kevin Durant's impact?
I didn't say there was a question. I just said that Bird's impact and his legacy
You
is
said
better.
there was no question of his, so I'm just asking, is it a question of Durant's impact?
Listen, now you're switching the goalposts.
No, I just asked the question. Is this a yeah or no?
Hold on, no. See, no. You're not. No. You're playing semantic game now. I didn't say that Kevin Durant is questioned. I just said that Kevin Durant has won, which is a good barometer of how good a player is. And Bird did it 3 consecutive years. So 3 years in a row, people said he's that dude. No question.
John Rich. I'm waiting to hear from you, John Rich.
Again, I'm gonna let y'all get y'all in. I'm gonna have to agree with Coach on this one. Is Bird on both sides of the spectrum on that one, bro. I'm gonna break it down first, just from the eye test type thing. Other than speed, just because it's 2021 and he black, KD ain't got nothing on Bird. There's nothing that he does better besides run faster and move the ball quicker because he's just more athletic. Shooting, they're about comparable, but I would actually give shooting to Bird. Passing, undeniably Bird. Defense, Bird. Rebound, Bird. That's just IQ of the game, Bird. There's nothing PD does better, but just looks flashier doing it. He just looks more nimble doing it. You know what I'm saying?
Averaging 27 a game compared to 24 doesn't make he doesn't do anything better. Having more career points and playing the same amount of games, the same amount of seasons. We're 13 apiece, like you said. And having 2,000 more points, that means absolutely nothing.
Because
having 1.3 blocks a game means absolutely nothing opposed to the other side.
In the
I got a question for Coach Ball.
In the 21st century.
I got a question for Coach Ball when y'all finish. Hey, Coach Ball, you said only one player averaged over 35 points for a season and didn't win MVP?
Right.
Make that 2, sir. 2018, 2019, Harden averaged 36-1 and Giannis won MVP.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll take that. That's 2. I take that. I like that.
But still, good point to bring up. I had to look that up just to be sure. Because you guys, like Chris was saying, there's been a couple of seasons that we did doubt the MVP. That was one of them. We thought Harden was going to win for sure, and they gave it to Giannis.
All right, go ahead, John Rich. Go ahead. Let John Rich finish. Go ahead, John Rich.
Yeah, I didn't mean to interrupt you, my dog.
Oh, my bad, Jerm. I didn't know you wasn't finished. My fault, bro.
It's good. So to go back on the scoring part, yeah, KD averages 3 more points a game, and Bird averages 2 to 3 more assists a game. With shooting a less amount of 3-pointers, because as you stated earlier, it wasn't a part of the game. As you did. Bird was putting up 67 3-pointers a game, he would definitely average more than 24 points.
Coach Ball, can you give him your words, please? I would appreciate it. Can you please give it to the guy who's agreeing with you right now? So, Ed had one
I like that one. I like that one, my brother.
So,
I like
so look,
that
I
one.
feel you on that.
Hey, give me 30. I'll be right back, fellas.
If we,
Y'all go ahead. I'll be right back in about a minute.
so
Right.
I'm assuming you're saying KD scores the ball better than Larry Bird does because of his scoring average, right? So it's so many players in the game who has lower averages than people that we good and well damn well know they score the ball better than. But
Tracy
because
McGrady.
play out
Tracy McGrady.
what else you do on the floor, your average might be lower than what it is. You know what I'm saying? Bird, as we stated, Bird was also his team's facilitator, kind of like a LeBron situation. Man, we all know Brown wanted to score 35 a game, he could, but he also has to facilitate the offense of his team, so that's gonna decrease his scoring some, right? Bird was the same way. Bird was we all call Pippen the original point forward. Really and truly, we can say that was Bird.
Yep.
Bird initiated the hell out of that Boston offense.
Sure did.
You know what I'm saying? So
I agree with
scoring, I mean, and I'm on record of actually saying KD and Mike are probably the two greatest scorers ever. Because KD is passive. If he wanted to go out and get 30 and 35 every night, he definitely could. I'm on record of saying that those two are the two greatest scorers ever. But that gap between Bird is not that far. You know what I'm saying? Bird's role had to facilitate. So if that was taken away from him and all he had to worry about doing was going, hey, go sit there. The man played with his left, told him he was gonna play with his left hand, played with his left hand, damn near drop 50. I don't know nobody else doing that. If that ain't some elite scoring right there, I don't know what is. You know what I'm saying? Then if we talk about on the career accolades, I don't think it's measurable on that part to even put KD. It's not fair to KD to compare him on the career part of that side. 3 consecutive MVPs in a league that had Magic, Kareem, Moses, Dr. J, Neek, Jordan, Zeke, like they had them dudes who made the NBA what it is today. And you got 3 straights, all besides Kareem. Kareem was going towards the twilight of his career, but everybody else was in their prime. And Bird got 3 consecutive MVPs. The last one to do it. That's elite. That's elite. So I mean, on both sides of the spectrum, I gotta go with Bird on that one.
All right. Hey, well, I'm in that debate with that statement. That was a good closing statement, John Rich. We're gonna get into interesting. I think this one is a little bit more interesting. I got John Stockton and Isaiah Thomas.
Wash.
Who has a better player and who was a better player? That's your answer, Coach. You say Wash?
Oh, that's a wash.
That's a
That's a
Wash.
perfect.
Isaiah Thomas way.
Hell no.
That's a one John Stockton way.
Oh yeah.
Any facts to support that, or are you just saying Wash? I can't hear you.
I didn't hear the last part. What you said? I didn't hear the last.
I say any facts to support that John Stockton Wash, or are you just going with Wash?
Hey man, this is one of my favorite ones, man. Let me break out the speculums.
Oh shit.
In 19 seasons, John Stockton never missed the playoffs. Let's just start off with that. He made 19 postseasons. There was a stretch where he didn't miss a game for 7.5 seasons. And the one day he took off because of a back strain. Right? He led the NBA in assists for 9 consecutive years. Watch this though. Listen to the list. 13.8, 13.6, 14.5, 14.2, 13.7, 12.0, 12.6, 12.3. That was a 9-year run where he dominated the NBA and set the record for 14 and a half games. 14 and a half assists per game. People forget he's the all-time leading assists by over 3,000 assists. He has 17,000 assists. All right. But on top of that, he's also the all-time steals leader in NBA history with over 3,200 steals. The next closest guy is 2,600, and that's Jason Kidd. The closest active guy is over 1,000 behind him, and that's Chris Paul at 2,300. And John Stockton has been retired for over a decade. He's led the league in steals multiple times. He was all defense 5 times. The guy was the quintessential point guard. He was the floor general. I always said that I think that Karl Malone is a tad overrated because of how great John Stockton was. He again was the definition of a point guard on both ends of the ball, of both ends of the court. Don't get me wrong, I love Zeke. I think Zeke is probably the 4th best point guard of all time. But John Stockton for me is the 3rd best point guard of all time behind Magic and Curry. And again, if he doesn't run into that bald head guy, that what people call Black Jesus, he probably has a championship ring. But again, he ran into that guy.
Hey, and I'm gonna just say this. I agree with you again. I got John Stockton better. I had to think about it, but he was averaging all those assists and the 3 ball, like if the flow wasn't spread out.
No
The flow wasn't
spacing.
spread out. Like he just orchestrated that offense. Like the flow wasn't spread out. Now I ain't gonna lie. As a better player, I think John Stockton was better. Career is a little bit closer because Zeke does have, that finals run where they beat the Bulls and then beat the Lakers or whatever. That was a pretty impressive finals run. But
Wait, you forgot. Man, and that's why I say he's the 4th best point guard of all time. That playoff run started with beating Bird, then Jordan, then
yeah,
Michael. You feel what I'm saying? He
yeah,
beat
I
3 of
got
the
you.
top 5 greatest players of all time, arguably.
Yeah, so that's why I said when it comes to career, it's a little bit closer. Honestly, I think it'll go either way for career. Either way,
Right.
because Zeke has the team accomplishments, and he was the leader of that team. But Stockton definitely has the more player accomplishments. So I think it could go either way as far as career rise. But
I can see
Jerry
that.
Rich, I'm gonna let you go next on this one.
So on this one, I flip flop how I used to look at it. I was thinking about this earlier today, and I had the flip flop of how I used to look at it. I used to look at it as Stockton was the better player, Zeke had the better career. And I started thinking about it, and I'm like, it might be the other way around. Zeke might have been the better player, Stockton had the better career. Now it's weird because we all say, Zeke had the 2 final runs. Zeke also had a more complete team. You know what I'm saying? When we all know what it takes to win a chip. Coach said it earlier. If Stockton gonna run into the ball headed Black Jesus, he possibly got 2. So I didn't put a lot into that, but when I think about career, I think about stuff that can never be taken away and never be overshadowed. Ain't nobody getting that assist or steal record.
Ever.
That's Stockton. They will have to change the rules of basketball for somebody to get them records. Or somebody will have to come out and do what Harden and Westbrook does now for their entire career. They're going to have to dominate the hell out the ball for their entire career, and everybody going to hate them because it probably won't be winning basketball, right? So there's 2 things that just Stockton is going to forever have. The Iron Man record he got with the games that he barely missed. I mean, that's just stuff that can never be taken away. The NBA ain't never going back to that. The players are too much of an investment. Owners ain't letting them get it. They ain't even letting it go down like that. Whereas Zeke got the final runs, he got the championships, but it's a whole lot of people with championships. They got champions every year. There's a whole lot of people with 2 championships. A whole lot of people with 3, 4, 5 championships. So I think his chips are kind of, as time goes on, it's going to get over. If it wasn't for the I guess the glory of the bad boy persona and all that, Zeke might have would have been forgotten by now. I think that thing of the bad boys is kind of what holds Zeke around right now, as far as his career goes. From an individual talent player, I actually think Zeke was the better player. I think, if I had to pick one person on my team and I can't choose anybody else, Zeke. And it's more so because of his, he was also a hell of a facilitator. He had seasons averaging 10 and 20. So I mean, he definitely wasn't no pushover on that one. And like he kind of ushered in that era of that scoring point guard, that can still run my offense, but I can still go get buckets. I mean, they had point guards before him, like Oscar, Walt Frazier, who could do it, but they kind of had like different segments of their career where they were more of a scorer and more of a facilitator. As Oscar got older, he was more of a facilitator than he was a scorer. Whereas Zeke was that dude like that his whole career. You know what I'm saying? So I think that individual talent, individual player, I would take Zeke. Career, I would take Stockton just because, like I say, Stockton got something that ain't nobody will ever take from him. And I'll be shocked if anybody even comes close to it.
All right, so God, let me hear from you next.
I'm going with Coach on this one. Wash on both sides. Stockton, better player and better career. I mean, you could flip-flop and say Zeke got a better career because he got chips, but take them chips away, what do you remember Zeke for? Nothing, besides beating Jordan. Even without the chips, you're going to remember Stockton for having the most assists as a point guard and being the steals leader and being one of the top facilitators in the NBA. Let's not forget, if you go by stats, Zeke was out-rebounded by Stockton as an undersized PG for his career. Zeke only averaged 2.4. Stockton averaged, 3.3, 3.5, somewhere in that area? And Stockton also averaged 10 assists a game for his career. That means he's averaging 10 points. He's averaging 10 assists, which accounts for 20 to 25 more, plus averaging 3 steals, which leads to more fast break points. I believe a better player is supposed to make his team better as a whole. So Stockton could not only score, but he could get his teammates in position to score as well. But you got this assist record, man. You got players that has been playing whole careers where they can 20+ year careers where they can retire and ain't coming nowhere close to Stockton's record. I just think even though he didn't win, Stockton was the better player because he made his teammates that much better around him with his gameplay. But my personal opinion, if it's a game on the line situation, I'm gonna go with Isaiah over Stockton. Well, Isaiah is that dog that you need to make that crucial play. Isaiah got more fight in him than Stockton. Stockton is the better fundamental PG all around. But if I got to go with a crucial in-game situation, and I got to choose between Zeke and Stockton, I'm gonna go with Zeke. That's just my look on that.
Hey, and I'm glad y'all showing a lot of love to the assist record because I think Magic actually got the record for the most assists per game at like 11 or something. But Magic only played like 12 or 13 seasons, I think.
Yeah.
If Stockton would have shortened his career to like, let's say 17 or 16 seasons, he would average at least 12, 13 assists a game.
And I got to make a correction. I said it was 16,000. The assist record is 15,806. The funny part of that is he's 3,000 ahead of everybody. The active assist leader is Chris Paul with 10,141. He's 5,000 ahead of the active guy.
How many years did Stockton play?
19.
17. Yeah, 19. 19. But I didn't count the last two where he was banged up.
And his record is 15,000. That's damn near 900 assists a season. Sheesh. That's 10 plus a game easy.
All right, Chris, what you got?
That's crazy, bro.
And the Iron Man, he played 19 seasons. 16 seasons he played all 82 games.
Yeah, that's real crazy.
That's a dog, bro.
That's real crazy.
That's crazy, bro. That was before the private jets and all that shit. That's when you was playing 4 games in 5 nights and back-to-backs, riding a bus from Boston to New York, and then lacing the bitches up.
Right. Hey, and it's something about Stockton I want to clear up. It's a lot of dudes that think Stockton couldn't play today. They drunk. Stockton played in the NBA today, other than Westbrook and maybe John Wall. I don't know how many point guards are physically stronger
than John Stockton. That dude was the opposite. People see John Stockton. That dude made the dream team for a reason. That dude was the opposite.
I think Stockton averaged 10 assists a game in this league.
Oh, with
He
the
got under
spacing?
skin
13,
too.
14 the pace of the game.
John Stockton was dirty and he got under your skin too.
Oh,
Yeah.
And he was dirty and he got under your skin. Hey, Chris, I want to hear from you.
In that aspect, he was the white Gary Payton.
Hey, Chris, I want to hear from you on this one. You're on mute. You're on mute. You're on mute.
For me, it was the easiest one. I'm with Coach on this one. That was some of the points I had. I'm taking nothing from Isaiah. He did do his thing. He do got the 2 championships. But I think Stockton's name is going to be at the top of the record books on those 2 until the end of eternity. Never say never, but it's going to be hard to come in and break those records. One, like you said, with the Iron Man record, not missing a whole bunch of games, and just coming down every day, and you knew what you was getting. You was going to get, 14 and 10 every night, and he was taking it away from you 2.5 times. And the crazy thing is his career high in the playoffs is 27. So it shows that he has 27 for a whole career, a whole playoff series. So it shows he could take over the game when you needed to and score and do different things. So he wasn't just a guy where you was like, oh yeah, he might get 10, but he definitely gonna give me 10 assists. He's a complete player. So I'm gonna go Stockton, because he's gonna be stamped in those record books for a long time.
Hey, to close top, I got 2 records in the NBA that's just more impressive. That's more impressive than the Iron Man record. Wilt Chamberlain from not getting anybody pregnant. That's one record.
Boy,
That's a fact. That's a fact.
AC Green for staying a virgin.
That's a fact.
Facts.
That's the 2 records. But hey, after them 2 records, John Stockton, he owned the 3rd most impressive record. But we're gonna get into this last debate. I don't know. I think I stand alone on this one. I don't know. I'm gonna wait. But I think I stand alone on this one. Got Dirk versus KG. I'm gonna go
Waiting on this.
I'm gonna go first since I think I stand alone on this one. I'm gonna go first. I think Dirk was the better player, and I think Dirk had the better career.
I knew it. Motherfucker here.
Hey, maybe because I'm a Dirk guy, Dirk my favorite power forward of all time. But yeah, I think Chris touched on it earlier. I think Dirk, he had one of the most impressive playoff runs to me. Well, I'm not saying he did it by himself, because he didn't. He definitely didn't do it by himself. But he was the head of the snake that beat Marcus Aldridge and Brandon Roy, beat Kobe Bryant and Paul Gasol. I don't care if they was young or not, they were still good. He beat Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, and James Harden. And he beat that heavily favored Heat team, which LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, and Chris Bosh, which all 3 of them hit the average over 25 points. So I think Dirk, and I'm not saying Dirk did it by himself. I'm not saying that. Definitely not saying that. Had a great supporting cast. But I think they had one of the best playoff runs ever. In the playoffs, with him and KG played against each other in their prime, that great defense KG has, Dirk still gave him buckets. His team swept Minnesota. KG wasn't by himself. Chauncey Billups did average 20 in that series. I think when you look at that series, both teams had multiple players where they averaged double digit points or whatever. So I think the reason I say Dirk a better player, because at that time, when they was both in their prime, Dirk outplayed KG when they both was in their prime. And we not going with, this is not like Iverson or Harden debate where we just saying who's the better player by what each of them did. I'm saying Dirk the better player him and KG played each other in the playoffs, and Dirk outshined them. Go ahead, Sean. I think you want to go first on this one.
Better player, KG. Better career, Dirk. I told you, I always hold that knock against KG. Y'all always say LeBron and them was the creators of super team. Lies. Let's not forget KG didn't win till he teamed up with Ray and Paul Pierce. Now, as far as the better player, yeah, power forwards by tradition are known as defense, known as a defense first position. Dirk was one of the first power forwards that became known for scoring first and that could actually stretch the floor. KG, he could take over the game too. He could shoot as well. Not as good from outside as Dirk, but he was also a better defense. You ain't known Dirk. You known Dirk for all offense, not defense. That Dirk, I've never heard Dirk of. I may be wrong on this. I don't recall Dirk being on all defensive team, being anywhere in the top 10 in rebounding. None of the above. So Dirk was mostly an offensive power forward. He wasn't known for defense. Now. So you think of power forward, you think of rebounders, you think of post players, etc. KG gave you the complete package, and he was just like John Stockton. He would talk trash to you and get under your skin. I hated that motherfucker at one point in time, but I never took away from his game. You got a former defensive player of the year. Did KG win the MVP? I'm not. I don't use Google very much. So.
Yeah, he won MVP in Minnesota.
There you go. So.
Hey, I get what you're
saying. Better player,
hey.
I give it to KG. As far as better career, they both got one chip. KG got the MVP and the DPOY, but Dirk was the cornerstone of that team for decades, and he did it without a super team. So I give him that edge over KG. As far as
I get.
Let's not forget KG. KG got ran out the house by Rasheed Wallace and them. Y'all remember we had this debate a long time ago. You can go over better power forwards, but it's a lot that you could put that can compete with them. As far as specifically KG versus Dirk, better player KG, better career Dirk.
Hey, I get what you're saying about how KG he played on both sides of the ball. That's why he's a better player. But what I'm saying is when they actually played against each other in their prime, they both was in their prime. Dirk was the better player. Like he won.
Was KG on Minnesota or Boston at that time?
Had a better smash Shaq. You feel me? But
what
you
happened?
said that Shaq was a better player than Hakeem, even though Hakeem did smash Shaq.
But no, I also said when Shaq when the roles reversed, I also said when the roles reversed, when Shaq was in his prime, that he gave it to Hakeem.
I said Hakeem wasn't in his prime.
Yeah, Hakeem was on the backside of that.
He was on the backside. But if y'all don't mind, I'd like to go next.
Go ahead, you got it.
Hold on,
brother.
I'm not finished though.
Here he go. You know you're gonna have a conversation about Dirk with this boy.
Hey, bro, you gotta let that man defend Dirk. Stop it.
Hey, let me defend my. I'm saying Dirk and KG. I think KG was 2 years older than Dirk or whatever. I think KG like 2 years older than Dirk. When both of them was in the midst of their prime in the playoffs, like Dirk, no matter KG great defender or not, Dirk outplayed him. Like it is what it is. Dirk and the team that Dirk when he had that great playoff run, the team that they took out was the same Heat team that broke up the Boston team.
When KG played Dirk them in the playoffs, obviously KG was in the West, so we talking about his Minnesota Timberwolves team. What was Dallas? What was Dallas's rank in the playoffs that season?
What was Dallas? I don't know.
Well, so Minnesota definitely had to be an 8 seed. We talking about the West. They wasn't 1 to 4 seed. KG had nobody on their team.
Hold on.
I don't think there's a 1-8.
That's false. Because Chauncey
like a 4-5.
Dallas had a way more complete team when Dirk made KG in the playoffs.
Chauncey
talking about KG and Troy Hudson. Come on, man. Latrell Sprewell and them.
Hold on, Petty. Chauncey Billups averaged 20 points per game in the playoffs. 2 years later, he won Finals MVP.
What that got to do with Minnesota playing Dallas?
He was on the Minnesota Timberwolves. What
Was
you
it?
talking about? He was on the Minnesota Timberwolves.
Okay, so who Dallas had on their team at the time?
It was a 4 versus 5. It was a 4 versus 5, like Jerm said.
4 versus 5. All right.
4 versus 5. But
it's a team.
Hey, throw that whole argument away.
Can I interject real quick? So,
Yeah, go ahead, Chris.
We talk about that one series, and you say he had Chauncey Billups, right? Mm-hmm. And granted, he had Chauncey Billups. Chauncey averaged 20. He also had Wally Zerbiak. Wally Zerbiak averaged 20. But what you don't mention is on the other side that Dirk had Michael Finley and Steve Nash and Nick Van Exel and Rafe LaFrance and Sean Bradley. So he had a team, but we can't pick that one playoff series where they played against each other and say, okay, yeah, he outplayed him. Because he did in that series. And when you look at that series, this is the one me and him went back and forth on chat about it. So I took notes. In that one series, I give you that.
Boy, those for you, July.
He got him. He got him in that one series. But when you look at their head-to-head all time, this is every game they played against each other head-to-head. These are the stats, and it tells exactly who each player is. Dirk averaged 24. He had 8 rebounds, 2 assists, 0.8 steals, 0.8 blocks. All right? KG averaged 22. He averaged 12 rebounds, 4.5 assists, 1.3 steals, and 1.2 blocks. And that's them playing each other head-to-head throughout their career. So when you're looking at that, KG dominated every aspect of the game. Well, not dominated. He had a better performance in everything except scoring. And the difference was 24 to 22. It's actually 23.9 to 21.9. So it's just one bucket. So when you're looking at overall between how they faced off against each other in the totality of their career, it's much closer of a gap than you may want to say on the offensive end. On the defensive end, rebounding and being a defensive anchor, it's a wash. Nobody would say Dirk was close to being the defensive player that Kevin Garnett was. So that's where I kind of rebuttal he beat him in he dominated him in his prime. Yeah, he had a better series. He had a better 3-game stretch. No knock to him. If we want to break it down wholeheartedly, you can say he had a better team, but that's splitting hairs. But then when you look at totality of careers, both got a title. My man got an MVP. They both made 4-time first team All-NBA.
Hold on. Don't just use first team because we go
I'm still going. They both got 4 first team All-NBAs. KG has 9 total All-NBA teams, and Dirk has 12 total All-NBA teams. But then when we flip it on the other side, KG has 12 total all first team NBA defense, and Dirk has 0. And then my man has defensive player of the year, and Dirk has none. So we're looking at the difference. Even when you look at career numbers, it's only a 3-point difference in scoring per game. But every other number is a wash for Garnett. So if you want to make the argument that maybe Dirk had a better career because he led his team to a finals MVP, a finals championship, and he was the MVP, I may be able to give you that. But when you want to talk about the better player, we're splitting hairs and saying Dirk was well, I ain't gonna say we're splitting hairs because Dirk was a more refined offensive player than Kevin Garnett. I'm not gonna hold you on that. He was. But as the totality of his whole game, not at all. Not at all. KG was definitely a better overall player. And not only do the stats back it up, but when you watch him and you watch him in the game, that kind of backed it up too as an overall player. Not just offense or just defense, but the totality of the game. And that's my argument there.
Okay. I'm gonna respond to you. And like I said, I knew y'all was gonna come with that argument. But my argument is like, unlike the other players that we comparing, you know, Iverson and Harden, Shaq and Dream, they wasn't both in their prime when they played against each other in the playoffs. I'm saying when Dirk, to me, and this straight off watching the series, when Dirk and Garnett played each other in the playoffs, when both of them was in their prime, Dirk was the better player. And if I'm judging, and that's how I'm judging it. And I'm not using stats for this one. And the reason I'm not using stats for this one is because we actually got to see them play each other in their prime. Like how we talk about Jordan and LeBron, who's the greatest player. That's just, you know, that's just what we think. That's just what we think because what we seen each of them play at different times. They never actually played each other. But Dirk and Garnett actually played against each other, and they both was in their prime, and that's the argument I'm using. Now that's a good argument that you put on the stats and the defensive player of the year. That's good. And I understand that argument. I do. I really do. Honestly, I understand that argument. But my argument is based off them seeing play each other at the peak of their power in the playoffs when basically everything is on the line, win or go home. And I think Dirk was just a better player.
My only question to that is, you're going to base that off of just those 3 games? Because they played each other a lot, and that's why I gave you the stats. And they're all time head-to-head. You based it off of that playoff series.
That was the only time they played each other in the playoffs.
But those 3 games shouldn't be the only defining moment. Because if I go back and just pick a time where, and I know we're not talking about Jordan, but it was fresh on my mind. We pick a time where Jordan got swept in the playoffs. And then I go and say, well, when they played them, Jordan lost. And we know nobody dominated him on the stat side, but he still got swept. His team lost.
Even though Jordan got swept by the Celtics, Larry Bird would tell you he was still the best player on the court.
That's fine, but he still got swept by 3-0.
No, he lost. He lost. But I'm not saying Dirk just beat KG in the playoffs. I'm saying he produced more than KG in the playoffs. Dirk averaged more steals than KG in the playoffs. I bet you didn't even know that. When
he averaged 3.3 for that series. But what about the totality of it? KG almost averaged 20 rebounds.
And Dirk averaged 15.
He averaged 13. He averaged 13. He averaged 13. 13.3.
I thought it was 15.7.
I went to the notes, my brother.
I'm gonna have to double check that. Patty, go double check that on Google. I know you're on Google right now. Go double check that for me.
What we double checking?
No, never mind. Don't worry about it.
What we double checking? I'm on standby.
Hey, but look, Chris, we was just talking about the playoffs. You just said how Jordan got swept. So I just put out the stats. Jordan was still known from players on the other team that he was still the best player on the court. And that's from players on the other team.
I'm not knocking that. But again, like I'm saying, you basing it off of those 3 games. If I tell you that Dirk shot less than 40% inside the paint against KG, would that change your mind? Because he shot 72% from 3-point range.
Why not shoot? That's a big part of his game, the outside game. Why not use your strengths?
You're supposed to. But when you say but KG shot 54. And we don't take in the aspect of the rest of the team. Dallas had 5 players average double figures.
How many Minnesota had?
3. So I'm looking at it, and my bad, you was right. He averaged 15.7 rebounds for that series.
Okay.
But Garnett averaged 24, 18, 5. 1 point average 22, 5, 5, 1, and 3. Garnett was 0.5 assists away from leading his team in every statistical category, while shooting 44% from the field. And then you have Wally Zerbiak average 20 points. Then you go down to Dallas. You got Dirk, Finley, and Steve Nash all averaged 20. Dirk averaged 30. Finley averaged 25. Nash averaged 21. Van Exel averaged 13. And Rafe LaFrentz averaged 10. So you got to take into account that his team played I don't want to say a larger role because you have who you have. You're supposed to go and win with them guys. But his team did play a good role in there. They shot 50% from three-point range. So I can't just say he dominated somebody who almost gave him his career high. Like he averaged 24 for that series, 24 and 18.
So all right, so let's be clear. Am I saying Minnesota had the better team? No. Am I saying that they had a team that could compete with them? Yes, that's what I'm saying. That's for oh shit. Hold on, let me put my camera back on. Y'all can see me?
Yeah.
Okay. As far as I was responding to Petty when I'm saying KG didn't have nobody that serious. He had players on his team that could compete. Dallas did have a better team, but I'm saying Dirk versus KG, prime versus prime, Dirk won the battle.
One series, but overall, he didn't. When you compare their entire playing career.
What we would have to do, what me and you would have to do, we would have to go back and look when they in their prime, what the numbers and what the wins and losses look like. That's because you're right. I'm using one series. You using the whole career when KG his second stint when he went to Boston, when he went to Minnesota, when Dirk was on the bench. So you're using the whole career. I'm using one series. So let's me and you go back, when we have some time and look at the games in their prime, and we'll have a better argument when it comes to that. But as for now, we're gonna shut it down now. I want to hear from James coaching ball.
All right, man. I just went first. The first thing I did, I looked at the comparisons because it's pretty crazy. They both played 21 seasons. KG made the playoffs 14 times. Dirk made it 15. KG was a 15-time All-Star. Dirk was a 14-time All-Star. They both made All-NBA 4 times. First team 4 times. They were right up there with All-NBAs with 9 and 12. They both have a regular season MVP. Like it is crazy how they complemented each other as far as like the numbers. KG was a much better defensive player with the defensive MVP and all the time with the all defensive selection. He also led the league in rebounding 4 times, which is a crazy stat in itself. Dirk obviously scored more points. As good as KG was defensively, Dirk was just as good offensively. You know what I'm saying? That's why this one I had the most fun of as far as going back for. I call it a tie. I think they're tied for who had the best career, and I think they're tied. There wasn't what as far as for the best player.
Get out there with that answer, man. I want to
Hey, I'm sorry.
Can I ask you a question real quick, Coach?
What you got?
This is my question, and I'm gonna leave it alone. So you say offensively, Dirk was better. Defensively, KG was better. Right. So now let's do this. Was Dirk's defense at a higher level than KG's offense?
I honestly, I'm gonna look at it like this. I never looked at KG as this big time offensive guy. He had a nice jumper. He was smooth around the rim, but it was never like, oh my God, like how we look at Hakeem. Hakeem had an offensive game. KG was nice offensively. I'm not taking nothing away from him. He had a nice little turnaround, he had a nice little jumper, but Dirk, people forget how special Dirk was offensively. He was special offensively.
Hey, how many people 7 foot in the 50, 40, 90 club? Just Dirk and Durant?
I was just about to say that. We're not even going to talk about the 50, 40, 90 club.
He was very special. But this is my question though. Like you didn't quite answer it. You just kind of ran around.
No, I did answer it.
Which one was better?
I didn't think KG's offensive game was anything special.
But was Dirk's defensive game anything special?
No, that's why it's
So,
even. So that's what I'm saying. It's a
so
wash for me because let me ask you this. People forget how good of a passer Dirk was. He didn't have to initiate the offense because he played with a Nash, he played with a Jason Terry, he played with a Jason Kidd. But let's not act like Dirk wasn't hitting guys on dimes as cutters on backdoor cuts. He just didn't have to carry, he didn't have to facilitate his offense. But he was a damn good passer. Let's not act like he didn't. You just read the rebounding numbers. Let's not act like Dirk didn't get down and rebounder. He got this moniker of he wasn't tough, but Dirk had that dog in him. Dirk went head to head with some of the best, and look, it is what it is. Let's do this thing. So that's why I said it's pretty much a wash for me, man. And when they finally got the perfect supporting cast around him, because we're not gonna act like Dirk didn't flame out in the playoffs as a number 1 seed the year he won the MVP, and Steven Jackson took his nuts. We're not gonna act like Rasheed Wallace ain't straight up punk KG. No, I'm just saying we're not gonna act like Rasheed Wallace ain't punk KG. Let's not act like that didn't happen. But
she got three. All facts.
When they got the perfect squad around them that complemented their skill set, they both did what they did. They led their team to the promised land.
All facts. But this is my last thing, and I'm gonna let y'all go because I felt really passionate about this. Like, I'm not taking nothing away from Dirk. I really think Dirk is that guy. Like, no lie. How July probably feel about Dirk is how I feel about KG. He's one of my favorite players ever. But when we talk about passing, like Garnett he averages 5 a game as a power forward, which is really good. Whereas compared to Dirk averaging 2.9. But when we say to me, when we say Garnett wasn't really a scorer, I agree with that. He wasn't one of those guys when you think of scoring, you'd be like, oh yeah, that was that guy. But we know he scored 25,000 points.
Right.
And this is just my opinion, and that's why I asked you the question. I think his offense was better than Dirk's defense. Not taking nothing away from Dirk, because I do believe he was very, very special. But I just think when you look at one side versus the other, they contrast in offense versus defense. For me, the next thing I look at is the other side of the ball for each one of them. KG's 26,000 and he averaged five assists a game, 4.9 to be exact. So that's just what I'm sorry. No, I lied. 3.7. His best 10-year stretch was 4.9.
So they wasn't off as far as assists. 3.7 to 3.
No, career is 3.7 to 2.4. When I was, okay. I broke down their best 10-year average, and that was when Dirk had 2.9.
So again, we're talking about 1 assist more a game for a career. 1 and some change. I ain't gonna cheat him. So as I'm saying, so it's about what and what. People forget Dirk was a damn good passer, man. He was a damn good passer.
He's in that upper echelon when you talk about scores. Like we like to talk Jordan, we like to talk Kobe, we like to talk about, Durant. But Dirk is in that conversation too. That step back with the leg out that everybody using right now, it came from that guy.
That's what
it came from that guy. So he's definitely that guy. I'm not taking nothing from him. I'm just a huge Kevin Garnett fan. So when I seen it, I got really excited. So I was like, okay, I got some ammo.
I peeped it out the way you and July was going back and forth, looking like Robert Parrish and Kareem in the post. No, it's me. No, me. No, bitch.
The nigga said Robert Parrish.
Honestly, it's the only thing I can go for. But like the rest of them, I was just going off the top of my head, so I would look it up real quick. I got a whole page and a half worth of notes for these boys.
Look, don't feel bad. That's how I'm about Stockton and Kate and Bird. I have my notes ready to go. Don't feel bad.
I got you.
Hey, that was good, bro. I think I know where you stand on this argument, but I want to hear from you next, John Rich.
you already know why I said. Well, you might not know the whole thing. So, player for player, I think KG was the better player. I do want to say KG is the better player, and I'm kind of going with what Chris said. I think KG's offense was far better than Dirk's defense. Like it's not Dirk wasn't a defensive liability, but he was nobody to stop anybody on defense at all. Whereas on any given night, KG could have been the best offensive player on the floor. You know, it was a lot of nights where he wasn't. I mean, if he's on the floor with Dirk, no, he's not going to be the best offensive player because he's not a better offensive player than Dirk. But depending on who's on the floor, it was any given night, he could be the best person on both sides of the floor, if not the best person in all aspects of the game except outside shooting, because he could have been the best facilitator at the same time too. You know, we all remember that stretch that he was averaging 20, 10, and 5 or like 6 for like 5 or 6 years straight. I mean, only person I think that's gonna get close to that is Jokic if he keep putting up the numbers he's putting up now. You know what I'm saying? So I think player wise, KG is definitely the better player, and not by much. It's really by hair. Like if we was to rank them 1 through 20, they might be right by each other, however you want to put them, around that 14, 15 range. I think they somewhere around there. And I mean, it's definitely a neck and neck race. And when we talk career, kind of on the Stockton and Zeke argument, I think Dirk's career had things that we will remember more than KG, mainly that finals run he had. Now I'm happy y'all brought up he got upset as a 1 seed, because there's some people like that ever since he won that finals, people just kind of forget that y'all still lost the 8 seed. But I do believe Dirk has that defining moment that's gonna always be there, and mainly because it's tied to Bron. I think if it wouldn't have been the Heatles that they beat in the finals, it wouldn't be remembered as much. But that was like the icing on the cake to cap off that finals run, and that's something that for our generation we definitely not gonna forget. And as long as people remember Bron, they're not gonna forget that run, because I mean he's forever linked to him.
Mark Cuban bought that ring.
hey, probably talking about the down 2-0, so maybe they ain't got the money to do it. I ain't hating on them. But I think KG doesn't have that defining moment in his career that'll be forever remembered, forever set in stone. You know, he got the chip with Boston, but for the people who hate super teams, it's no way that they can really praise that chip. Plus, he didn't get Finals MVP on that team either. You know, Paul Pierce got it, although he should have got Finals MVP.
That's the same thing I said. He should have got it.
He definitely should have. He should have got it, but you know, that was the Celtics team. That was Paul Pierce's team. You kind of just got to give it to him to make him happy.
That great pain.
Yeah, KG just don't have that career defining moment for us to remember far down the line. But I do think he was the better player. Also, Dirk finished with 30 plus point scored. So I mean, that's something that's kind of highly revered as far as scoring in basketball goals. So career-wise, I'm gonna have to give a little slight edge to Dirk. Player-wise, I'm gonna have to get a slight edge to KG. What I do want to add about these two players, though, we always talk about the people who kind of changed the game. We talk about Curry changed them out of the NBA. Bron did this. All these other players did that. People sleep on the change that both KG and Dirk brought to the game. There's a whole lot of tall people that got drafted because KG can handle the rock that shouldn't have got drafted. Everybody was looking for the next big ticket. There's a whole lot of European players with a decent jump shot, Darko Milicic, that got drafted because of Dirk. You know what I'm saying? So they definitely influenced the NBA. I think the NBA that we see now with tall dudes shooting, tall dudes handling the rock, tall dudes running the flow, the way they run it. I mean, Dirk revolutionized the face-up post game. Other than Hakeem and Duncan, I don't know any other better face-up post player than Dirk. Definitely revolutionized tall shooters. Then you got KG revolutionized people who can guard multiple positions, people who can have different roles on your offense, whereas he ain't gonna be your best scorer. He can be your center point in the post. He can be your facilitator for the offense, while also being a lockdown defender. I mean, that's kind of unheard of. in that aspect. So I mean, definitely those two, I think, in my opinion, actually have a greater impact on how the NBA is played today. Because again, I always say we still haven't seen Curry's impact really. Curry impact youth basketball a whole lot. Motherfuckers walk in the gym, they don't even do no layup. They take off the warm ups and pull it from half court. So I think once like dudes at high school now, once they get in the league, then we're gonna really see. All right, this
Shit,
shit
we
is
see
Curry.
Curry impact now. Shit.
You know what I'm saying? Curry is Curry in the NBA. He the only person getting defended the way he gets defended. I mean, that is Trae Young might be the next person that's closest because he went in the NBA whenever it started. But other than that, I mean, that's just all Curry. We all saw when Curry wasn't on the Warriors wasn't even running that kind of offense. I mean, that shit is made for him. He just a person that can't be duplicated just yet. And I think
Greatest shooter ever.
Oh hell yeah, by far, like not even comparable. If people can bring up Chris Jackson all they want to, hell to the no. Curry by a mile. But definitely, man. But definitely, man, Dirk and KG impact on the game today, man, is no way to deny it, man. And you know, I really think at one point Dirk was getting the credit for it. I think it kind of died down, but it's like, hey, man, these dudes still playing. These dudes that they're influence. I mean, it's Dirk kind of the reason we don't see low post players no more. You know what I'm saying? Like, fuck all that banking in the post. I'm gonna face up and I'm gonna either shoot over you or I'm gonna drive it to the rack. You know what I'm saying? So definitely, man, definitely. But yeah, player, I've got to give it to KG because of all the different aspects of the game that he had some career. I'm gonna have to go Dirk because it's defining moments. You know what I'm saying? Not July. I can't give it to Dirk off of 3 games. I just can't do that. I can't use 3 games and give it to Dirk when both of them was still dominant in that series. Dirk had a better series by far. Yet Dirk killed KG that series. It was like, damn, somebody doing this. But that's why it's crazy because it's like, shit, somebody doing this shit to KG. You know what I'm saying? Like, I remember that series. I'm like, hey, Dirk in his bag, bro. Like, when you average 33 on KG, you doing some wild shit. And that was prime KG. You know what I'm saying? That's some shit we ain't never seen before. So, but I just can't give Dirk the credit for the whole totality of the picture off of those 3 games, though. I can't do that. I can't do that.
All right, Patty. I don't think we heard from you yet. Troll guy, what you got?
Yeah, you heard from me already. I told you, better player KG, better career Dirk.
Okay, got you. All right, y'all, we're gonna go ahead and wrap this up. Just to give y'all a heads up, San Antonio beating Boston by 23 in the second quarter. I'm about to watch this Trailblazers and Nets games on ESPN.
Oh Lord.
I'm finna go and tap into this thread, jump into the second round of this draft.
That's what I'm watching right now.
It's on?
I'm gonna have this.
Yeah, it's on.
Yes,
Oh,
I'm gonna have this. I'm gonna have this podcast edited by tonight, and I'm gonna have it posted by tomorrow morning. So I'm gonna tag y'all. Make sure y'all tag. I'll let y'all boy. But hey, nice meeting you, Chris. Nice meeting you. Nice debating. As always, John Rich, coaching ball. I'll see you Wednesday.
Yeah.
I'll see you Wednesday.
It's been a pleasure, fellas.
All right, y'all have a blessed one, man.
Hey, y'all have a good one.
Brother.
All right, my brother.
All right, man.